that worry that used to take up part of your brain is gone now, and then you can start to develop a course, or you can start to build other aspects of your business, knowing that you've done this biggest thing, you've done this small thing that was giving you the most anxiety.
I feel like you guys have read the script somewhat, because you have basically jumped into lesson 2 and 3 already, which are the last 2 lessons, actually, before we talk about our personal lessons. But Andrew, can you talk more about the dating? Because I feel like this idea of thinking of something as an experiment, I think it's very much aligned with this notion of dating something. And I was thinking about that the other day when someone asked me, like, oh, so you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life? And I said, no, I'm dating this. I'm dating this field, this new area that I'm kind of like venturing in. So can you tell us more? Maybe the audience would benefit from your dating analogy.
Yeah, for sure. So I think human nature is like what we've been talking about is to be averse to like these binary choices of decisions. Like I do this or I do this, and the consequences are dire. Like I drive here, and if I crash, the car crashes and it blows up. But like it doesn't have to be like that binary choice, right? With niching, which is like the magic word in our industry, but it really just means like a specific type of person that you want to work with. Like really the only wrong decision is not making a decision, right? And it doesn't have to be what you do forever, right? And I like the analogy of dating because I think it's relatable. Like when you go on a first date with somebody, I'd be surprised if the majority of people go on a first date with the intention of like, oh, this is going to be the person I'm going to date for the rest of my life. Like, no, probably most people go into that coffee date or whatever just to like, oh, I'll find out information about them. We'll just kind of talk, and maybe there will be a second date, maybe they won't, maybe there won't be, but like either way, okay, I'm kind of cool with the outcome, and then we'll go from there. So why does having a niche have to be anything different, right? And this is where we kind of came up with the idea of dating a niche, with the idea that kind of as a catch-22, yes, having a niche is important, but only to an extent. So a lot of, or I want to say all, the majority of skills that we can learn of having a business, having a teaching business, are transferable to any niche. But the catch is you kind of have to choose one or date one in order to learn those skills and go through the process of putting in the reps to get there, right? So learning about audience attraction and building an offer and selling an offer and building a course and running a course and getting feedback and building a landing page and getting the messaging right, and all of these things, which are skills that are very important but are transferable to literally anything that you could possibly offer for the rest of your life. But in order to actually go through the process and learn all those things, you have to be targeting a specific type of person, but you don't have to date them forever.
Oh my God, you're just jumping into lesson 2 now. But because you guys anticipated lesson 3, I think lesson 2 and lesson 3 are kind of connected, because Andrew just brought up lesson 2, which is, in order for you to do that, which is lesson 2, you need to have a unique proposition. You want to have something that only you could do, right? And we talk a lot about this idea that you're not teaching everyone, you are teaching someone, right? And I think this is why you need to make good choices, because by making good choices, you're creating opportunities for yourself. So what do you guys have to say about that?
Yeah,
what is this unique proposition?
I think it's balancing though, isn't it, Leo? So I think it kind of speaks to what Andrew was saying. Like as teachers, we have these great resources of knowledge and all these materials we've accumulated, these assets, as we like to say, that we bring to the table. And it's really just a matter of choosing a type of student or an aspect of teaching that we really like to teach, and commit to that, put it out there, and date that niche for a while, right? So maybe if you really like teaching speaking skills, oftentimes teachers teach presentations. So maybe you just teach presentation skills, right? And you test it out there. You test that niche. And
you think of it as an experiment.
Think of it as an experiment, right? The opposite of that would be trying to get your niche so perfect without any dating, right? It's like I can't date yet because I haven't lost enough weight. I can't date yet because I haven't got my haircut. Right? You keep
It's like
delaying,
it's like you're
delaying.
just texting a bunch of women, but you've never gone on a date with them, and you've never given them any. You haven't given any
Let's
of them
have
a
our first
chance.
I really want to date you. This is awesome. I'm so glad that you're into my profile. Let's talk in 2 months when I'm ready. Right?
Yeah.
Like, no, like let's test it out. Let's experiment for a bit. Let's avoid the paralysis of indecision, right?
Yeah.
You familiar with the show Love is Blind? You familiar with
Yes.
that?
We
I
had
haven't watched it, but it's very popular.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
In my circles. Yeah.
So what always basically always happens at the end of the show?
They kiss.
The end of the
I don't know.
Wait. But that depends. Have you watched the series? Because in the middle they have to meet.
Well,
That's in the middle.
The premise is flawed, basically.
They get married
right?
at the very end.
They get
either
married
get married or they
sometimes.
don't.
Or they don't, right? And a
Right,
lot of
yeah,
them walk away and say, "No, I'm not ready. I can't do this."
But without seeing
Some
each
of
other,
them
right?
on the very last day, right? Like on the altar,
Because
But
they never
without
get a
seeing
chance
each
to.
other. Is
Well,
that right?
at the beginning, yes, at the beginning, the idea is that you can fall in love without seeing somebody.
Put the link in the profile in the comments below.
But they never actually get a chance. They I think it's like over the course of like 6 weeks or something, and then they get married or whatever.
Mhm.
But they don't get a chance to actually get to know each other, right? Which is why this is what dating is for. You get to know a person and make a decision and get information and gather information and find out, if you decided sitting on your couch today, I want to get married. And then you go into your first date with somebody with the intention of like, I want to get married. I mean, I think some people do that, but that may not work out the best. You go in with an open mind as an experiment. It's okay. But you put in more reps. If someone doesn't work out for you, go on a date with another person. And I really believe this, like niching is the same thing. Like it's about learning the process and not trying to find something perfect, because you always be surprised with what you find. It's not going to be what you think.
Yeah. And this is what it means to have a unique proposition. This applies to your life as well. I'm pretty sure that, Andrew, when you were in the dating world, you kind of knew what your unique proposition was, right?
I don't know
what
That's
you
a
were
good
looking
question.
for. It's a good question. I don't know, but maybe. And I was thinking about
maybe I didn't. That's why I was still dating.
Yeah, but eventually you knew what you wanted.
Yeah,
you figured out what. Because I think that's the essence of wanting to have or having a unique proposition is figuring out what you are uniquely good at and apply as much leverage.
This is scary to people too, because a lot of natural responses is like, well, I don't know, I'm not good. Of course you don't at first. Like you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And how do you figure it out? By, we always talk about learning by doing. Well, it doesn't just apply to students, it applies to us as well. Learn by doing, and having, a corner of the internet for you. Like, I just Googled this. Do you know how many people in the world have access to the internet?
Okay, we have 8 billion people in the world. So how many people have access? I'd say 6 billion.
Yeah, over half, definitely.
5, according to statistics.com. So 5.03 billion people have access to internet. 4.7 billion people have social media. So my question to everybody is, how many of those 4.7 billion people do you need to sign up to your course to have a thriving business?
Yeah.
Not that many.
Yeah.
You don't need to teach everybody.
This is why you need to have a unique proposition. You need to productize yourself, right? Because we've talked a lot about this. Productizing has this specific knowledge. Productizing has leverage. Yourself has uniqueness. Yourself has accountability. Yourself also has specific knowledge. So what you're doing is you're combining all of these pieces into these two words. And as you said, Andrew, if you're looking at things from a long-term perspective, you need to ask yourself, is this authentic to me? Is it myself that I'm projecting? And then ask yourself, am I productizing this? Am I scaling this? Am I scaling this with labor? Am I scaling this with capital? How am I scaling this? With media, with a course?